In this video, I'm revealing a simple trading strategy that is proven to have a high win rate. And later in the video, I'm going to show you proof of it having a high win rate by backtesting the strategy 100 times. So without further ado, let's get on with the video. So, for this strategy, we're going to use a combination of 3 different indicators: the 200 EMA, parabolic SAR, and the MACD indicator. So first, let's start with the MACD because that will give us our main entry signal. The MACD is one of the most popular trading indicator that does a very good job of detecting momentum. For the settings, I'm going to leave it as it is and just use the default settings. So as you can see, the indicator consists of 3 parts. First, we have the blue line, which is called the MACD line. This line moves faster and is more sensitive to price changes, which will be the main focus of the MACD indicator. Next, we have the orange line, or also known as the signal line. This line reacts slower to price changes and is mainly used to filter out market noises. And finally, we have the histogram, which simply shows the correlation between the MACD line and the signal line. For example, if the line crosses above the signal line, the histogram will turn green. And if it crosses below, the histogram will turn red. The gap between the MACD line and the signal line also affects the size of the histogram. If the gap is wide, the histogram will grow longer. And if the gap is tight, the histogram will grow shorter. Now, technically, you could still utilize the MACD without the histogram. However, I prefer to just keep it because there are times where it's actually quite useful. Like in this example. Here, we can see that the MACD line is clearly crossing over. However, because the lines are too close to each other, we can't really see what's going on. So instead of looking at the lines, you can just look at the color of the histogram to see which direction did the line crossed over. Now, a common way of trading the MACD is by simply taking long positions if the MACD line crosses above the signal line, and taking short positions if the MACD line crosses below the signal line. However, for this combination strategy, we're going to add an extra layer of confirmation. Which brings us to the second indicator for this strategy, which is the parabolic SAR. The parabolic SAR is one of the most simplest and easy to learn indicator that does a very good job of identifying trends on the market. And for the settings, I'll also leave it as it is and just use the default settings. Now, right off the bat, we can clearly see that the indicator consists of multiple dots, and the way we utilize them is very simple. If the dots are below the candle, it indicates that the market is on an uptrend, and if the dots are above, it indicates that the market is on a downtrend. Now, a common way of trading the parabolic SAR is by simply taking long positions when the dots are below the candle and taking short positions when the dots are above the candle. However, using the strategy this way actually results in a very low win rate. Because remember, markets aren't always trending. It can also move within a range like this. And notice, the parabolic SAR isn't really performing well on a sideways market. It gave many false signals. All the trades that I'm currently showing you in the screen ends up being a loss. And that is why for this strategy, we're not taking long or short positions based on the dots alone. Instead, we're using them to give extra confirmation and making sure that we're trading within the same direction of the trend. Now moving on to the third indicator, which is the 200 period exponential moving average, or the 200 EMA for short. So, for this strategy, we're going to use it to identify the long-term trend direction. If the price is above the 200 EMA, it indicates that the market is on an uptrend, so we only take long positions. And if the price is below the 200 EMA, it indicates that the market is on a downtrend, so we only take short positions. And so, we have discovered all the 3 indicators that we're going to be using. So now, this is how you trade the full strategy. So, let's start with long positions. The first step is you need to make sure that the price is above the 200 EMA. The next thing you need to see is the MACD line crossing above the signal line while the parabolic SAR is positioned below the candle like this. And so this will be your long entry. Next, for your exit strategy, you want to place your stop loss at the parabolic SAR and set your profit target at 1-to-1 risk ratio. And as you can see, our profit target ended up hitting this candle right over here. Now the next possible entry signal comes up shortly after that. We have a crossover upwards on the MACD while the price is above the 200 EMA. However, as you can see here, when the crossover happened, the parabolic star is still above the candle, which is not what we want. We want this to be below the candle. And so for situations like this, what we do is we wait for the dot to go below the candle, which is here, while making sure that the MACD is still crossing upwards. And so this will be our long entry signal. And again, for your stop loss, place it at the parabolic star and set your profit target at 1-to-1 risk ratio. And as you can see, this one is another profitable trade. Next, we spotted another long entry right here. We have a cross up on the MACD while the parabolic star is below the candle. So again, place your stop loss at the parabolic star and profit target at 1-to-1 risk ratio. And so this one ends up hitting this candle right here. Now let's get into some short examples. Alright, so as you can see, this candle closed below the 200 EMA, meaning we're preparing to take short entries. Next, we saw a cross down on the MACD while the parabolic star is above the candle, and so we can place a short position right here. Then, place your stop loss at the parabolic star and set your profit target at 1-to-1 risk ratio. And so this one is another profitable trade. And right over here, we spotted another cross down on the MACD. Then you look at the position of the dot, which in this case, it's above the candle, which means this will be another valid short entry. Next, place your stop loss and profit target, and as you can see, this one ends up hitting this candle right over here. So that's enough examples, let's get straight into the 100 test. For this backtest, I'm going to trade the EUR/USD 30-minute time frame with a starting capital of $1,000. And for our money management, we are risking 2% over total capital per trade. And for each trade, we're using 200 times leverage. So without further ado, let's start backtesting.